welcome back to another episode of Federico Wants Watches. And boy, does it feel good to be back on YouTube. It's been a little while, I went through like a Miami flu. It's kind of weird, isn't it, guys? I live in New York, snowpocalypse, I never get sick. I moved to Florida and I basically get mild pneumonia. Just the way it goes. But I'm back. And in case my voice is a little harsh, I apologize, but you guys are going to have to put up with it. I'm not 100% better yet. Anyway, today I wanted to discuss a topic which, will help you get to know me a little better, but it's still about watches. And I want to talk about the 5 most important watches in my life. Watches that have played a role or have maybe marked an occasion in my life that have made them memorable and that will always hold a place in my heart. I don't necessarily own these watches. In fact, I own almost none of them. And they might not be the most horologically significant watches, but they were there at certain moments. But of course, before we get started, we have to do a customary wristwatch check. And today I'm wearing my Breitling Chronomat Evolution, a watch that doesn't get much love from me, but it looks absolutely fantastic, so it really should. So why don't we get right into it and talk about the first watch, and these are in chronological order. And the first watch that really struck me in my life, and that is really important to me, is the watch that made me fall in love with watches, that started all this craziness for me, that, essentially put me on YouTube in the first place, and that is the Brigade Classic. Now, I remember it was 2006 or 2007. I was just about to go off to university, and I was hanging out in my parents' house in Madrid, and my brother was home from New York, kind of visiting us, and he was surfing Time Zone, and I never really cared about watches, and he was an absolute nut about them. But kind of funny, nowadays I'm the nut job in the family regarding watches. He's kind of laid off them a little bit. But I remember he calls me into the living room and he's like, "Hey Fred, come check out this watch." And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And it was the Brigade Classic in white gold with the enamel Grand Feu dial. And man, that was the first time I thought to myself, that's really beautiful. And then I asked the price. And I think in that era, it was probably $14,000, $15,000. And my interest never really picked up right after that. But I do remember it being the first watch that I thought to myself, wow, that truly is beautiful. And that is the Brigade Classic. And this is definitely one of those watches I will own at some point in my life. Now, number 2, we're moving on a little bit, maybe a couple of years, and it is the first watch I ever sold. Now, my first job out of college, or even in college, was working at a watch shop. So I've never worked in anything but watches. And my first job was at Cartier 5th Avenue in their famous Maison as a watch sales associate. And I remember I went through my 3 or 4 days of training, and this is when the Cartier Calibre just came out. They didn't have a bracelet version, they didn't have a diver, they didn't have a chrono. It was the simple Calibre, black or white dial on an alligator strap. And I remember it was 10 a.m., it was my first day on the sales floor, and some gentleman just walked in, and I was terrified. I mean, I had never sold a watch before, I'd never even worked a real job before. And he bought the watch, and I remember it was $64.50 at the time, $6,450, and that was the watch that kind of propelled my career in watchmaking, so to speak. I mean, I don't want to give all the thanks to that one watch, but I definitely remember my first sale, and it was pretty special. So yeah, Cartier Calibre, non-chrono, just a simple white dial on an alligator strap. Yeah, that's a memorable one. Now, the third pick is also one from Cartier, and it's a watch that I really fell in love with. And to this day, I don't understand why I never bought it. And that is the Cartier Santos 100 steel on steel on the black alligator strap. It's a simple ETA 2892 movement. I believe actually Cartier is upgrading them to the Calibre 1904 MC this year, but at the time it was still an ETA 2892. And this was just a great looking watch. It was sophisticated. I was totally brainwashed to love Cartier, even though I still do really love Cartier. But at that time, working in the Cartier boutique, there was nothing better in the horological universe than a Cartier Santos. And I just really remember trying that on every day. Whenever I was free in the boutique and I didn't have a customer, I'd be playing with the Santos 100. And shockingly enough, I actually never bought one. But that's also on my list. You guys might see a trend. There's a lot of watches on my list. But these, this and the Brigade definitely deserve a spot. So yeah, the first watch I really obsessed over, Santos 100. Number 4 on my list is the first luxury watch I ever bought. And at this point, I was working for Vempe Jewelers, and I bought a Panerai Pam 111. Now, you guys might know I'm a little bit of a Pam fanatic. I always wear them in my videos. I'm actually not wearing it today, but I've got a 111, I've got a 380, and I've got a 280, the Chrono Daylight. So definitely a Panerai lover. I also love the Italian collection. I'm a little bit of a sucker when it comes to marketing like that. Being Italian myself. But this is the first luxury watch I ever bought. Now, the first watch I bought was a Swatch Beat with internet time, but that doesn't count. This is the first watch that kind of hurt when I bought it. I remember taking out my debit card and paying for it, and I still have it in my collection. It's a fantastic piece. I have a huge love of Panerai for it. Now, yes, I agree it's not the most complicated watch out there, but in terms of emotional connection, the Pam 111's my baby. I mean, it's my go-to piece whenever I don't know what to wear, and it'll always be in my collection. And then number 5, but certainly not the last on my list, well, the last chronologically, but not in matter of importance, it is the Roger Dubuis Excalibur Chronograph. Now, you might think, Federico, I mean, we know you love Roger Dubuis, but how the hell is it one of the most important watches in your life? Most of you probably don't even know what an Excalibur looks like. Well, actually, it was another watch I sold. And I remember we just got Roger Dubuis at Vempe, and they weren't selling particularly well, and I managed to pop one of these pieces to my customer, and I was very good friends, and I still am very good friends with the regional sales director of Roger Dubuis, and he was really happy that I sold it. And I remember that I got sent on my first trip to Switzerland because of this Roger Dubuis. I became the Roger Dubuis brand ambassador at Vempe, and I got sent to Switzerland to tour my first factory, my first time in Switzerland, first time in Geneva, and it was really an experience that opened my eyes into the world of watchmaking. Now, since then, I've visited a few other factories. I've been to SIHH, but I have, visited a few factories, but this was my first, and I can kind of trace back my real obsession with horology to this factory trip that Roger Dubuis provided me. And I can never thank them enough. In fact, Claudio, if you're watching, thank you, buddy. That trip means a lot. It just, you guys, I'm sure if you go through a similar experience, you'll never forget it. The hospitality, learning about all the artisanal work from creating tourbillon cages to croissant dials. It's just, it was really eye-opening, and it really spurred a passion in me for horology, and one of the many reasons why I'm here on YouTube. So those are the 5 most important watches in my life, at least to date. I'm sure the watch I'm going to wear on my wedding day is going to be up there. The watch I gift my son is going to be up there. But for now, I'm going to have to be satisfied with this list of 5. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Federico Wants Watches. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. It really does help, and it actually shows that I'm pulling my weight around here. And check out the description of this video for a link to our Instagram, where you can chat with me and Mr. Josh Thanos, our lead watch buyer, on Instagram, and take a look at some beautiful pictures which were professionally shot. And, maybe just a good way to get your watch fix when you don't have time for a YouTube video. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.